Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to break Wilt Chamberlain's record for most consecutive games with 20 points scored or more. An unbelievable feat, one of the records that I don't think anybody thought that another player in the NBA would touch. The next closest behind Wilt in the 120s is Michael Jordan, who's in the 90s, and Shai is up there now, and it's an unreal run that he's been on over the last 4 seasons. As a matter of fact, in the entire 21st century, not a single player has scored 30 points per game consecutively across 4 seasons, period. Besides him, he is going to reach that mark by the end of the season. The only other 2 players to do that post-merger in 1976 and further is Adrian Dantley, who technically didn't do it because he only played 26 games one of those seasons, and Michael Jordan, who did it for 7 years in a row. SGA is only 27 years old. He's on the precipice of his 2nd MVP, his 4th season of averaging 30 points per game or more. He's on track to win another championship, another finals MVP before the age of 28. I think people need to really put into perspective what that looks like in terms of his trajectory throughout the rest of his career. Looking at some of the best primes of the 21st century, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, LeBron, Curry, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Shaq, KD, none of them were doing what SGA is doing at 26 years old. Sure, are they putting up numbers? Absolutely. Are they winning championships and winning the amount of games that he's winning? Absolutely not. There are 2 major statistics that I want to really harp on when I'm talking about individual performance correlated in to team success. The first one that I want to talk about is record when playing 35 minutes or more. And so I looked at every one of these guys that I just mentioned. They're single primes where they are the sole individual contributors in terms of predominant success. So, for example, Shaq from 99 to 2002, he was the guy in LA. Sure, Kobe was also there, but it wasn't a quote-unquote super team like the Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry Warriors in 2016-2017. So for Shaq, I looked at 1999 to 2002, his best performative years without other external factors contributing. Kevin Durant, I looked at his seasons from 2011 to 2014. He won his MVP within that gap or that section there. So that's the primary focus there. Tim Duncan, I'm looking at 2001 to 2004. Both of his MVPs within that particular portion of his career. Kobe, I'm looking at 2007 to 2010. His best individual performances as well as his highest team success as an individual. LeBron, I'm looking at 2010 to 2013. Yes, that was the quote-unquote super team on the Miami Heat, but at the same time, that was the best version of LeBron James. That was a LeBron that was not only winning MVPs, also averaging 25 points per game and placing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Defensive Player of the Year awards. That's the LeBron I'm going to be looking at. Stephen Curry, I'm going to be looking at his 2013 to 2016 run. Post that, we get into the Kevin Durant super team where he's not the sole contributing factor to winning. So I don't want to look at those years. I want to look at what is prime Stephen Curry, where he is the focal point of the offense. Then with Giannis, we're looking at his championship run, 2021 to 2024. These are the best years of Giannis combined with the Bucks team success as well. And then Jokic, we're looking from 2022 to 2025. This is the Jokic era with multiple MVPs and championship success. And then last but certainly not least, SGA. We're going to be looking at his era from 2023 to present. So to start with Shaq, we look at 2 major statistics here. This is what I'm looking at for everybody. What is your record when you play 35 minutes or more? And how many times did your team in those 3 years win by 10 points or more? With Shaq, we saw that era. He went 122 and 46 in games that he played 35 minutes or more. That is a ton of usage, which actually, on a side note, probably contributes to the fact the reason that he struggled to be healthy was that every single time he played like 40 minutes a game. Unbelievable. But he won 72% of his games where he played 35 minutes or more. The next closest is SGA, who has 69 and 29 in games that he plays 35 minutes or more. 70% of the games that he plays 35 minutes or more, he's winning those. Unreal. Stephen Curry is right behind him, 78 and 33, 70% win percentage. Then you look at the ones that are closer to the bottom, Giannis, Jokic, and Kobe. All three of those guys are 65, 62, and 61% win percentages when playing 35 minutes or more, respectively. And then the other three guys are clumped into a similar category. Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, and LeBron James are all in the range of 66% to 69 or 68%. So we see that there is levels to this. Not only do we have that to back up the evidence that SGA, quite frankly, is on track to be the GOAT. Now, will he actually attain that status? Maybe not, because it is so hard to play this level of basketball for that period of time. But secondarily, his teams are built for dominance, and he is unbelievably efficient. Looking at every single one of these players, SGA's teams over the last 3 years, and might I add, I'm looking at 2023-2024, 24-25, and the current 25-26 season that has not wrapped up yet. They have won games by 10 or more points 119 times. 119 times. They are blowing teams out of the water. I don't think people understand just how dominant OKC and SGA has been over this stretch of time. With Stephen Curry, he's next with 117, and we're talking about the 67 and 15 2014-2015 Warriors that won a championship, and the 2015-2016 Warriors that went 73 and 9. This SGA Thunder has more 10-point or more wins than they do. And then look at the rest of the group here. Kevin Durant is at 104. Tim Duncan, Kobe, LeBron, they're all in like the high 90s, low hundreds. Giannis and Jokic are in the high 80s, and Shaq is at 91. No one's coming close to this level of team dominance. SGA not only is the best scorer in the NBA right now, he's also a top 25 defender in the league right now for his usage rate. Mix that with his elite facilitation as an offensive guard, and of course, the rest of this cast being extremely young and, quite frankly, for most of them, cheap. This is a dynasty in the making. Now, will Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren always be with OKC? Probably not. But I can guarantee you with the other, I think, 17 first-round picks in the next 6 years for OKC, they're going to continue to hit on talent because they do it time and time again. Not to mention, they trade first-round picks away to get Jared McCain. They traded one first-round pick to get a guy who shoots 40% from three at an unbelievably elite level. I'm so looking forward to the next 7 to 8 years of Oklahoma City basketball. Right now, the Thunder have one championship. If they could somehow win 4 to 5 in the next 8 years and get SGA into that 5-6 ring category with the amount of production that he puts up on the floor mixed with his defensive effort, there's no question in my mind that by the time he's 35, 36 years old, he will be in the GOAT conversation. The question is, of course, like every other player, is will his body agree with that type of workload? Will the injuries start to stack up? We have not seen that with SGA quite yet, but we haven't also seen him, wear the load that, 5, 6, 7 finals runs kind of puts on your body. And he might not win all of those finals as well. So looking forward to see SGA continue down this path. The level of dominance that he has shown so far is quite frankly unlike any other player that we've seen at his age currently at 27 years old. No other player has produced the things that he has produced. Really looking forward to seeing what the rest of his career looks like, but super excited for him to win another MVP and make another finals run. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Be sure to tune into any of my other video content. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.